Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Miami, Season 5, Episodes 9 and 10. Yes, it's another double recap, and let me start off by saying that I officially do not like Alexia, Marisol, or Larsa. I think their attitudes are just nasty. There is definitely some jealousy and some resentment towards Dr. Nicole. I clocked how they all treated her last season, and now it is glaring that they just want to have a problem with her. Because if we're being honest, Nicole does not bother anybody. So to see them all come at her and make up rumors, like, that's just so messed up. But I'm not here for it. I am definitely on Nicole's side. And yeah, I loved how petty she got in episode 10. I said, I know that's right, because I would have done the same exact thing. But guys, let me not jump ahead. Let's just get right on into it, because as you guys already know, we don't have a minute to spare. Now, we start off episode 9 with all the ladies reading the latest page 6 article that has just come out, with Lenny finally announcing the divorce with Lisa. So they're all confused. They feel like it's been conflicting stories with what Lenny's saying versus what Lisa's told them. Now, we already know that Lenny is lying about everything because he's an idiot. So I wouldn't even pay whatever he's saying to the press any mind. But I do think that it's sad and pathetic that Lenny is okay with embarrassing himself and his whole family like this. Now, when we see Marisol go over to Lisa's house to check on her, personally, Marisol does not give me good friend vibes. When it comes to Marisol, I think of somebody who's a gossip. She just likes to get in your business to report back to Alexia. I don't see her as somebody who really is concerned about Lisa and her well-being, because even the questions that she kept asking Lisa, it just felt like she was trying to be nosy. But when she was like, so you're telling me that you were completely blindsided? Because in the article, Lenny's saying that you guys had been living separate lives for months, and then you're telling all of us that things were fine a few weeks ago. So Lisa maintains that her and Lenny were never living separate lives, everything was fine, and this caught her completely off guard. Now, Lisa, I will say that I do think that you were turning a blind eye to things. Lenny made it really obvious with his actions that he had checked out of this marriage years ago. The way he was acting last season, then the way he was acting towards you in the earlier episodes this season, it was clear that a divorce was around the corner. And then for him to drop 60 pounds, he's not having sex with you, that was a red flag right there, sis. So while I understand that, yes, you probably were blindsided, I do believe that you saw the signs, but you were trying to force yourself to think that it was something else. But we learned that Lenny sleeps somewhere else. He is publicly dating his new girlfriend, and she keeps saying that Lenny has lost his mind. I think it's disgusting that Lenny really expects Lisa to move out of their home, because how dare you? It's bad enough that you cheated and you're dating somebody else and you're filing for divorce, but to kick your soon-to-be ex-wife out and your kids out of the only house that they have ever known, that's disgusting. Again, I just want to know, what is Lenny going to say when his kids are older and they have questions about how he treated Lisa? I'm dying to know. Is Lenny going to care? I mean, is he going to feel remorse? Because this is really sad. And he really is treating Lisa like she's the enemy when he's the one in the wrong. I think it's so strange, and I touched on this in a prior recap, but I think it's crazy how a man will fall out of love with you and then he starts treating you like you're nothing. Like, okay, it's one thing if you don't want me anymore, but don't treat me like I'm garbage. Like, it's just crazy. But Lisa, I really hope that you are fighting hard in divorce court. I hope that you are awarded the house, because you should not be the one to have to leave that house. Now, when Lisa said that Lenny's all she knows, she spent her entire adult life with him, And then she added, why couldn't he do this when the kids were older? And I said, Lisa, it would be way more devastating for you if Lenny did stay around for another 15 years and then left you for somebody else. You would feel a lot worse. I just felt like in a situation like this, you'd rather somebody do this to you sooner rather than later, because you would really be deeply invested and it would hurt so much more. But going forward, I really hope that Lisa takes the time to get to know herself and find something that she loves to do, get some hobbies, because she just kept saying, he's all that I knew, and I want him, I need him, he was my best friend, he was my everything. And I know it sounds so cliche, but that's why you cannot make anybody your everything. Because if they decide to leave, they're gonna leave you so devastated, and we see that it's happening with Lisa. So you guys know how I feel about Alexia. She gets on my last nerve. I find her to be very hypocritical, judgmental, self-righteous, rude, all that, right? But I have always had a soft spot for her youngest son, Frankie. I thought that he was so adorable in this scene when they went to her friend's store in the design district, and it was so cute. He was kissing all the sales associates' hands and telling them how beautiful they were. He's just so sweet. But anyhow, we learned from Alexia that this charity event is for young adults like Frankie who have unique abilities. Now, we remember what happened to Frankie. If you watched the earlier seasons, then you remember that Frankie got into a tragic car accident that caused him brain damage. By the grace of God, he's still here, he's still alive, and he is doing well. But we also find out that Alexia is working with the Demoya Foundation, and they help young adults like Frankie find jobs and just thrive in life. I thought it was touching when Frankie said that even though his mom wants him to be independent, he doesn't want that. He enjoys Alexia babying him and protecting him. And she's like, no, Frankie, you have to be independent. And he was like, no, I don't want that. But I always enjoy Frankie when he's in a scene. And I feel like those are the moments where I can tolerate Alexia because she's actually pleasant. She reminds me a lot of Giselle, where I can only tolerate Giselle when she's filming with her daughters. Now, this scene with Julia and Martina having a romantic dinner at home, Julia's trying to recreate their first dinner together when they lived in Paris. Julia's in the kitchen burning the fish. I was like, girl, call up a restaurant, please. Hit up DoorDash or Postmates or Uber Eats, but don't sit up here and serve Martina some burnt food. But honestly, this scene was not that interesting. Every single time we see Julia, she's got a million animals running around. She has the dog, then she has the parrot screeching. I'm like, Julia, is there ever a time where we don't hear the animals just going crazy? Like in the last episode, she had the baby goat running around with a diaper on. It's like, can you not? But Julia's just going on and on to Martina about how she worries about their marriage, especially with what happened to Lisa and Lenny. And she says that you never know what somebody's thinking. And that's true because you really don't know. I mean, people can switch up on you immediately. Like, people can love you today and hate you tomorrow. I'm not saying that that's the case all the time, but it's just good to know in the back of your mind, like, in case this person should leave me, I will still be okay. But anyhow, Julia says that she worries when Martina goes to Aspen that she'll run off with an Aspen skier. And Martina's like, girl, I don't want anybody else but you. I'm happy. I love you. You have nothing to worry about. And I thought that was sweet that Martina reassured Julia that she's not going anywhere, because the way they were arguing in those earlier episodes, I got nervous, like, are you guys about to be heading for divorce next? Because you guys seem to be on two different pages. Alexia and Marisol going out to dinner and they see some old friends. Now, I was screaming at how their friends came up to them and said, oh my gosh, we saw the news about Lisa and Lenny. I had no idea they were still married. So Alexia says that it's just so tough when she goes out people will come up to her asking about Lisa, and she says that Miami is a big city but a small town, and gossip gets around fast. So they both start talking about how bad they feel for Lisa. Marisol says that she checked on Lisa yesterday and gave her some encouraging words. And you were also at her bar drinking up all her vodka. So Alexia says that when you're in a bad marriage like Lisa and Lenny, you can't see how bad things are despite everybody else around you seeing it. So she brings up her marriage to Herman, and she says that they put up a front, but when they got home, they slept in separate rooms. Now, it just seems to me that Alexia's entire marriage to Herman was a big sham, and they were not happy at all. Finding out earlier on in this season that he kept her on a tight leash with an even tighter allowance. I don't think that Alexia was happy at all about being with Herman. And I also don't believe that Alexia was ever attracted to Herman either. Again, I just think that Alexia wanted to be with a powerful man again, and that's why she went with Herman. It seems like her current marriage to Todd might be her only normal marriage, because the first husband was a big-time drug lord who was featured in Cocaine Cowboys. Then she got with Herman. That was a mess. And now it seems like she's finally with the man that she's attracted to, has money, and actually wants to be with her. I guess the third time really is the charm, but I digress. So anyhow, Alexia goes on to say that one time she woke up in the middle of the night. It was like 5 in the morning. She was in the kitchen and Herman was coming in. And she was like, well, where have you been? And come to find out, Herman had a separate apartment, a whole other life. And she goes on to say that as a woman's intuition is always strong. And she knew that things weren't right between her and Herman. And in regards to Lisa, I do believe that Lisa knew that something was wrong. She just didn't want to believe it. I really enjoyed this next scene with Guerdy and Russell. They're having a beach date. They have the flowers and the beach chairs and the champagne all set up. We learn that Russell proposed to Guerdy on that very spot on the beach. So Guerdy says that they've been married for 20 years and the key to a good marriage is lots of communication and lots of sex. So she's doing pretty much a temperature check to see how Russell feels about where they're at. So she's like, babe, this whole Lisa and Lenny mess has me thinking. I get nervous. I want to make sure that you feel okay. Please let me know how you feel. Be honest. And I really liked how Guerdy allowed Russell to just speak his mind, be honest. She allowed him to talk without interrupting. It is clear that she's really receptive and she really does want to know what can she do to improve and make their marriage better. And you could also see that Russell was appreciative of Guerdy allowing him to talk and to speak freely. And Russell did not hold back. He was like, I love you and all, but you are a workaholic because you'll come home and you're still wrapped up in your work. And then if me or the boys want to talk to you, you want to go to sleep and put some TV on. So now Guerdy wants to know about their sex life. How does he feel about it? And he's like, it's okay, but more is always better. So now she says, okay, I think that 3 times a week is good. And he's like, yeah. And you could tell he was like, girl, let's up the number to like 4 or 5. And honestly, I was surprised to hear that they get it in 3 times a week because Guerdy is always working. And she said it in the last episode that she's a jet setter, okay? She is always traveling from city to city, whether it's New York or Aspen or somewhere in Europe. She's always on the go. So I'm really surprised to hear that they get it in as often as they do. But you can tell that Russell wants more. Russell reassures Guerdy that he's in it for the long haul. He has no plans to leave her. And I like how Guerdy was receptive to what he said. She even admits that she wants to spend more time with him and the boys. And she brings up that being a boy mom is tough. And because she does have boys, she doesn't feel that mom guilt when she's away working. Now, I don't have children as of yet, but I will say this. If you've been watching me for any length of time, then you know that when I do have children, I have always wanted to have daughters. Like, my ideal dream would be to have 4 girls, okay? I am a girly girl. I am a girl's girl. And I sometimes think to myself, if I were to have sons, like, I don't know, would I be a good boy mom? Like, what would we talk about? And don't get me wrong, I would be a great mom, whether I have daughters or sons. Like, I'd be fantastic. But the thought does cross my mind, like, okay, but it probably would be, I guess, a bit different. I don't know. I don't know. But in a weird way, I could kind of understand what Guerdy was saying, if that makes sense. And when Guerdy said that she feels like the boys are always having fun with their dad, I think she feels like, well, they don't really need me as much because they're all guys and they relate to their father more than they do me. So I could understand where she's coming from when she said, I don't feel guilt because it's like I'm a boy mom and they have more fun with dad anyway. But Guerdy makes it clear that she wants to do better and she wants them to get back on track and have more family fun nights going forward, spend more time with Russell. And I said, this was a great conversation for the both of them because they really got to hear where the other one is coming from. Adriana getting a non-surgical BBL and Julia going with her for moral support. This scene was just okay to me. I wasn't too entertained by it. Julia's letting Adriana know that she and Martina are ready to adopt another child. And Julia says that Martina has finally come around. And Julia is just thrilled because them being empty nesters so soon has really gotten to her. Now, with the recent news with Martina's health, remember she's been diagnosed with throat and breast cancer. I wonder if they're still on track to adopt a child or has that been put on pause? I guess we'll find out at the reunion. And once again, prayers up to Martina. I am praying that she gets through this and beats both of the cancers. Now, when we get to the final scene of the episode, it's the evening of Alexia's charity event, and we have Nicole and Guerdy arriving together. Now, when they're in the car, Nicole brings up how excited she is for her engagement party, and then she brings up how Larsa has been super weird to her, how Larsa keeps bringing up how her ex-husband was a teacher. So she's like, I don't understand why she keeps doing that. It feels like a jab, almost as a way to belittle me, saying that he's not good enough. Like, being a teacher is mediocre. And then she brings up how Larsa doesn't do it to Guerdy about Guerdy's husband being a firefighter. And Guerdy says, well, I hope she wouldn't say that to belittle me. And I said, now, Guerdy, I see that you're getting close to Larsa, but let me tell you something. The day you two fall out, I can assure you Larsa will be throwing shade about what your husband does, because that's how Larsa is. I do think it's really weird that Larsa does keep bringing up what Nicole's ex-husband did. And Nicole, you're not imagining it. Larsa is saying that to belittle you. Larsa obviously is a respecter of persons. She cares about status. And in her world, if you don't have status or money, then you're nothing. So she absolutely is being shady. And she's trying to remind you, I guess, of where you've come from. Like, girl, you might be with Anthony right now, but don't forget, you were married to a teacher earlier on. It's definitely shade. I was really trying to like Larsa earlier on in this season, give her a clean slate, but she truly is very arrogant and just overall very nasty. But everybody's arriving to the charity event. We see Lisa on her way, and she's on the phone with Lenny, and you have Lenny cursing Lisa out. And I said, this man has destroyed his family, broke his vows, moved out with another woman, but yet he wants to curse at Lisa. Are you serious right now? I think it's terrible that Lisa is estranged from her whole family, because the fact that she can't call up some brothers or some cousins to get Lenny together, are you serious right now? I wish Lenny would. It's just so sad that Lenny is being a complete jackass when he's the one in the wrong. And the craziest part about it all was when Lisa got to the party, Lisa's like, Lenny cursed me out, but now he's asking me to buy him bananas and crunchy peanut butter. And I'm like, Lisa, there is no way that I would even entertain that. I would have blocked Lenny's number and have my lawyer contact him, because we're not even gonna play this game. How do you leave me and now you wanna curse me out, kick me out of our marital home, but yet you want me to do you a favor and buy you groceries? Are you kidding me? Adriana's at the party. I thought that the orange dress that she had on looked amazing on her. She's showing off her new BBL. And of course, you have Larsa talking about Adriana gave me the hardest time about my butt, but now look at her. She went and got a BBL just like me. She's just jealous and she always wanted a body like mine. Now, while I do believe that Adriana was jealous of Larsa, I also think that Larsa is somebody who thinks that everybody's jealous of her and wants her life. So now we see Larsa and Nicole talking, and Nicole points out that this is her and Larsa's first time ever sitting down and enjoying a nice conversation. So of course Nicole brings up how their last few interactions have been really weird. Larsa keeps bringing up how her ex-husband is a teacher and she wants to understand why Larsa has all this weird energy towards her. I was so irritated because instead of Larsa just owning it, she gets defensive and she's like, do you know who my ex-husband was? Divorce Anthony and then we can talk. And Larsa, how snobbish of you. So because her first husband was a teacher, there's something wrong with that? Like, I'm just confused at her mindset. And Larsa, who would you be had you not gotten with Scottie Pippen? All the opportunities that you've had are because you were married to Scottie Pippen. The doors that have opened for you, the circles that you're in, it's because of Scottie Pippen. It's just really bizarre that you want to look down your nose on who Nicole used to be with. She's no longer with her ex-husband who was the teacher anymore, so why are you bringing him up? It's just really weird. So Nicole goes on to say, look, we're trying to move forward as friends, and I just want to understand where the disconnect between us is because I don't like this weird energy. For Larsa to say, well, you judged me before you even knew me, saying that you can't invite me to your house until you get to know me. And I was thinking, well, that's the norm. I'm not going to invite a stranger into my house, and I don't think that other people would either. So, girl, what are you saying? And Nicole was confused, like, girl, what are you talking about? I never judged you. And Larsa reminds me of Marlo Hampton from Atlanta because they love to throw out a lie when they are losing an argument. When Larsa said, I've heard a lot of stuff about you, sis. You've hooked up with every doctor in the hospital. Now, I said, girl, are we really doing this, Larsa? You're not embarrassed to stoop so low? I mean, you really just reached with that one. That wasn't even believable. And I like Nicole so much. I just felt so bad for her. You could tell that she felt blindsided by Larsa saying that. She looked like she wanted to cry. And I was like, girl, you do not deserve this treatment. So in episode 10, we pick right back up, right back at Alexia's charity event where Larsa and Nicole are going at it. And Nicole is like, how dare Larsa lie on me and say that I'm doing something inappropriate at work? Like, I went to school for many years to be a doctor. And this lady who's selling feet pics on OnlyFans wants to judge me? Nicole says that this is Larsa's playbook where she'll throw out a rumor that's detrimental to somebody to harm them. And they roll the tapes back, and that's exactly what Larsa does. Larsa enjoys being mean and hateful. And Kiki and Guerdy, y'all better watch out because I can assure you, Larsa will turn on you next. Now, was I in support of Larsa earlier on in this season between her and Lisa? Yeah, because I could understand that being hurtful. Somebody's trying to say that where you live isn't in a great area and it's only with shady people. That would piss anybody off. The arguments between her and Adriana last season, I was on Larsa's side because I thought that Adriana was being hateful. But I do think that any other time, Larsa can be very nasty, very hateful, very childish, where she'll throw out anything just to hurt somebody, and it's not right. And Larsa, don't get so bold, because without Scottie Pippen, who would you be? What would you have? Because somebody could easily go for the jugular with you and say, well, girl, what have you accomplished? And yeah, you're finally working now, but it's because of a big divorce settlement where you're now able to start all these businesses. So let's not act like you were always hard at work and making a name for yourself. You were Scottie Pippen's wife for a long time. And I think that it's really messed up that you want to discredit what Nicole has going on because you're mad at her calling you out at how you've been treating her. It's not right. I feel like Larsa doesn't know how to give an apology, and I think that she has a hard time admitting when she's wrong and when she's gone too far. I thought it was funny that Larsa had the audacity to say that maybe Nicole is insecure with her situation with Anthony, but yet she has to say to Nicole, well, Nicole, do you know who I was married to? I was married to a prominent basketball player for 23 years. And I'm like, oh, okay. So you want to say that the woman who's made a career and has a name of her own, you want to say that she's insecure and jealous of you, but yet your claim to fame is being the wife of a basketball player. Let's really dissect this, because that makes no sense. Nicole has accomplished a lot, and whether or not her and Anthony stay together or go their separate ways, she will still be Dr. Nicole. Let's be real clear. If I were Nicole, I would flex being a doctor every chance I got. It would be like, all right, girl, I mean, yes, I'm with a rich man, but I still have coins of my own, and I'm a doctor.
Bling, bling, bling. Bitches is mad.
But everybody sees Larsa and Nicole going at it. Of course, Marisol being nosy and an instigator, she wants to see what's going on. But you have Nicole asking Marisol if Marisol would invite a stranger into her home. Of course, Marisol's not answering, and now Larsa jumps in and she's like, the fact that she would say that she has to get to know me first before inviting me into her home, like, who does that? So of course, Marisol, because she's jealous of Nicole too, she sides with Larsa and she's like, yeah, Nicole, when you said that last year, I thought it was rude. And I'm like, Marisol, shut up. You just hate this girl so much. So Nicole says, it wasn't my intention to be rude. I'm just saying that I like to get to know people before I invite them into my home. That's it, that's all. And I said, Nicole, don't even explain yourself to them. They're being obtuse on purpose. They are purposely missing your point because they know that you're right and they're wrong. These two know good and damn well that they would not allow a stranger into their home or somebody who they didn't like inside their home. If you guys watch my Potomac recaps, then you guys know that I was pissed when Candace had Ashley over to her new house earlier on in this season. You don't have an enemy in your house, and Nicole has every right to vet people. Larsa knows that she'd do the same thing. We saw how in the first episode of this season, Larsa didn't want Adriana to come to her new penthouse. Remember that? So now Larsa says that she thinks Nicole tries to be a nice girl, but Nicole is fake. And I said, Larsa, that's real rich coming from you. But as the party's going on, we have Adriana and Lisa talking. Adriana says that she knows a guy who has a huge crush on Lisa. And Lisa's like, I can't even think about another man. I can't even imagine dating anybody. The only man I've been with is Lenny. And I just want to be with him, even though Lenny does not want to be with me. And I said, Lisa, girl, please don't let a man hear you say that, okay? I understand that you're devastated and still in love with him, but I'll be damned if I say out loud on national TV that I want a man who does not want me anymore. Absolutely not.
No.
I thought that Alexia's speech was nice. She was thanking the Demoya Foundation for helping moms like her. And we learned that when Frankie first got into the accident, the doctors told her that he wouldn't make it and that if he did make it, he'd be a vegetable. But she says that she never gave up on him. Physical therapy, speech, communication lessons. She wanted to make sure that Frankie got back on track. And I have to say that I am so happy to see Frankie doing well because I was afraid for him. I remember that season when the accident happened, and I mean, I thought like, oh my gosh, I just hope that her son makes it because it was really sad. I mean, Frankie was in really bad shape. So to see him from then to now, he has made amazing strides. And again, I wish Frankie the best on his journey. I always light up every time he comes on the screen. He's just so funny and just so sweet. And yeah, I mean, I'm really happy that he's doing a lot better. But the charity event is over, everybody's leaving, and we have them all talking about Nicole's engagement party. And Larsa says that she's not too excited about the party because she's not here for Nicole and she thinks that Nicole is fake. And it's like, girl, shut up. Nobody cares what you think. You always have so much to say about other people, but when somebody clocks you, then you want to get upset. And it's so crazy because I really thought that I was going to like Larsa this season. I was like, okay, Larsa is growing on me. She seems cool. And just like that, her true self has come out yet again. I was happy to see that Guerdy applied the notes that Russell gave her in the last episode regarding spending more time with the family. I liked how she had the family game night, and it was so funny because she had her assistant come over too. She's like, he's part of the family at this point, so he can be in the family game night as well. Now, these two parallel scenes with Larsa and Guerdy hanging out at Larsa's place and Nicole and Anthony out to dinner, baby, I was screaming. Nicole got the last laugh, and she is just as petty as I am because Nicole, I would have done the same exact thing to Larsa. So we see Guerdy and Larsa talking about Alexia's charity event. Guerdy is still confused as to why Larsa and Nicole were fighting in the first place, when all of a sudden there's a knock at Larsa's door and Larsa receives a package. Now, Larsa opens it up and it's a mirror. And on the mirror it says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fakest of them all?" And then at the bottom it says, "And by the way, you've been disinvited to our engagement party." And Guerdy was trying not to laugh. She was like, well, damn. Larsa's face was shook because it took her a minute to realize what just happened. Now, when we flip to Nicole and Anthony having a date night, Nicole is still pissed at what Larsa said to her. And when I tell you that Anthony was reading down, when he said, Larsa hasn't accomplished anything, everything that she has is from the back of somebody else. But he didn't lie. It's the truth. She wouldn't be on this show if she had not been married to Scottie Pippen. Because I can assure you that Bravo wouldn't have cared to cast her on this show had she not been married to somebody prominent and famous. And when Anthony said that she would never go back to her maiden name because her maiden name is irrelevant, I said again, where is the lie? And I agreed when Anthony said that any woman with a name for herself, Larsa's jealous of. I agree. I think that it does bother Larsa that there are women who are accomplished in their own right and they don't have to rely on a man for their money or their status or their position. But Nicole definitely got the last laugh. I was happy that she let Larsa know, don't even bother coming, you're no longer invited. I don't believe that you should invite somebody who you know has ill intentions to your special moments. Now, when we get to the day of Nicole and Anthony's engagement party, everybody's getting ready except for Larsa. You have Nicole getting glammed up, Guerdy FaceTimes her, and she's like, girl, give me all the tea, because I was not expecting that. I was at Larsa's house when she got the package of you uninviting her. And Nicole lets it be known that she kept it quiet from Guerdy because she did not want Guerdy to feel like she was in the middle. Now, I just feel like Guerdy needs to watch out with Larsa and stick with Nicole. Just my opinion. And honestly, I'm really happy that Nicole didn't tell Guerdy what she was going to do because Guerdy has a big mouth and she probably would have said something. So I'm really glad that Nicole kept it quiet. I said, that's how you do it, okay? Be petty in silence. Now, when Anthony and Nicole arrived at the venue, when I tell you, they know how to plan a party because it was stunning. And I thought the theme was beautiful. It was like Casino Royale because her and Anthony met at the Wynn in Las Vegas. So everybody's arriving. Kiki's there. Kiki always looks so good. Julia shows up with her daughter. Now, I was annoyed when Julia ignored Kiki. I was like, Julia, you're that mad that Kiki was angry on the boat? So you forgave Alexia when she cursed you out, but you can't forgive Kiki? Like, really? It's really not that deep for you to give Kiki the cold shoulder. But I was glad that Kiki paid you dust. She was like, all I have for Julia is a hair flip. Now, Adriana and her date arrive, and Adriana has all her receipts. She said that the other day, Terry printed out a copy of his divorce decree and she cannot wait to show the other ladies to shut them up. I said, okay, sis. Well, I'm happy to hear that your man is actually single. Nicole's dad is a mess. He comes into the party already drunk. He's dropping things. He's hitting on Kiki, talking about, yeah, call me Papa. Was anybody else irritated when Marisol walked in? Marisol had a stank look. I was like, girl, are you really that jealous of Nicole? Because the first thing she said was, oh, everybody's in black tie. I didn't know it was black tie. I was like, I'm sure on the invitation, they told you the dress code. Also, why are you wearing white to somebody else's engagement party? Even Nicole was like, really? I don't care what anybody says. I have always felt that Marisol is extremely jealous and envious of Nicole. And that was a subtle dig to show up to this woman's engagement party wearing white. You're not the bride. And then she was talking about Nicole's father. She's like, yeah, her dad is 2'2". He looks just like a drug dealer. I was like, really? Who says that? And I felt like Alexia and Marisol were being messy when they were talking to Nicole's father. Because when Alexia was grilling the dad and she was like, oh, well, what do you think about Anthony? And it seemed like she wanted to hear some bad news. Like she was hoping that the dad would say something negative about Anthony. I didn't like that. I was so glad when her dad said, oh, I love Anthony. He's a great guy. And I say, yeah, don't give these women anything to report back on. They're messy and they're hateful. And when Alexia said, I mean, I don't understand why Nicole just can't forgive her dad. He's a great guy. He's a fun guy. Just forgive him. She'd be so much happier if she would accept him for who he is and move on. And I said, Alexia, you have a lot to focus on in your own household, so worry about your family. Don't worry about what Nicole has going on with her dad. And she has every right to feel the way she feels. Her dad was not a good dad. He was a deadbeat father. So if she still has feelings of resentment and she's not ready to forgive him, that's her right. Stay out of it. And I thought it was interesting when Nicole's dad was asking them, like, oh, what do you think about Nicole? Like, isn't she great? Isn't my daughter amazing? And of course you have Marisol being nasty, making a face, and she's like, I mean, she's definitely growing on me. You just want to have an issue with her. It gives very much Giselle on Potomac, how she gives a lot of the younger castmates a hard time because of jealousy. Now, when all the women sat down to talk, you have Marisol joking around about how she wore white and maybe Anthony will confuse her for Nicole and she'll marry Anthony instead. I said, Marisol, in your dreams, Anthony would annul that so fast if he woke up to you in his bed. I said, girl, stop. Also, it's very tacky and very attention-seeking for you to show up in all white at this woman's engagement party. Everybody else is in black or gold, and here you come with white on. Like, oh, I really don't like Marisol. I never liked Marisol. I always thought that she was just annoying, very thirsty, very desperate, never really had a concrete storyline, just trying way too hard, never saw it for her. Now, Alexia, if Marisol is supposed to be your best friend, why are you up here spilling all her tea? Because I was screaming when she revealed that Marisol and her new man aren't actually married. They had a spiritual wedding in Tulum, but they're not legally married. I said, oh, okay. She's so quick to call out other people and their situations, but I wonder how she'd feel if somebody got on her about how she's lying about being legally married when she's actually not. So Marisol makes a joke about how she does not want anybody to take her fortune. And then Julia tells a story about how before her and Martina got married, Martina's team was like, oh no, you're about to marry this Russian model, you better have a prenup. So she said Martina walked through the doors with all these contracts, and Julia played dumb, like, what? I have to sign all this and read all that? And then Martina said, you know what? Ripped it all up and said, girl, don't even worry about it. So Julia says that there is no prenup. And I said, oh, okay, I know that's right. Now, Guerdy, I've been liking you all season, but I thought that it was messy of you to bring up Nicole uninviting Larsa. I just felt like it wasn't your place to do that. Don't make things awkward. Just try and have a good time. And of course, Nicole pops on by because she's dying to know what they're all talking about. So Guerdy says, now girl, you already know we're talking about you and you uninviting Larsa. So Nicole says, if you want to hit me with a rumor and lies, then I'm going to hit you back with something else. And I said, yeah, exactly. I agree. If you want to go low, I'm going to take it to hell each and every time. And Nicole took it to hell by saying, you know what, Larsa, don't come, you're not welcome. So Nicole says that Larsa doesn't have the right to insult her and spread lies, and she says that Larsa is an arsonist. She throws matches to see what's gonna blow up. So here goes Alexia being a contrarian for no reason, and she says, well, you know, Nicole, you insulted her by saying that you're not going to invite her into your home without getting to know her. So Nicole says that wasn't an insult. All I said was I want to get to know her first before inviting her into my home. And the funny part is I did have Larsa over last year. She came by for dinner. And I've said this several times. Alexia and Marisol are the Giselle and Robin of Miami because they love moving the goalposts when it's somebody that they can't stand. For Alexia to say that she doesn't agree with Nicole, I said, are you serious, Alexia? The way you act when somebody talks about you, if somebody lied on you, you would be going crazy. You'd be cursing them out, not inviting them to anything, icing them out of the group. Now because Nicole stood up for herself and said, I'm not going to take Larsa's crap, now you want to shame Nicole? I was happy that Nicole stood her ground and said, no, you don't have the right to impact somebody's life socially or financially by spreading lies about them. And then you have Alexia saying, well, where there's smoke, there's fire. And if it's not true, then just ignore her. I said, wow, Alexia. Alexia is insufferable. Because again, we all know how Alexia operates. If somebody had lied on Alexia, she'd be so angry. Look at how she acted when Julia and Adriana brought up her first husband. When Julia said, okay, girl, but that's why you lived off of drug money, Alexia was going nuts. Then when Adriana brought up her first husband again, saying, well, wasn't he on that documentary Cocaine Cowboys? She went off on Adriana. And then for Alexia to say, well, I don't get it. Why invite her to then uninvite her? It's just so stupid. And I said, no, she has the right to do that. And where was this energy when Kiki was uninvited from Julia's housewarming party? I'll wait. Like, y'all really take issue with things that Guerdy and Nicole do. And like I said, it's obvious that Nicole and Guerdy are at the bottom in this group. Nicole has every right to protect her peace and say, you know what? I don't want Larsa around me. I don't want anybody who can't stand me at any of my events where we're celebrating me. When Nicole said, every time Larsa is called out, she deflects. And then here goes Alexia. Well, everybody deflects. You deflect. Everybody does. We all do. It's like Alexia. And I said, Alexia, again, you, Marisol, and Larsa have a huge issue with taking ownership. It is always someone else's fault. So Nicole starts crying and she's like, I could lose my job off of that dumbass accusation. What are you saying? And I was so mad because I said, if I were Nicole, I would have kicked Alexia and Marisol out. Like, get out. You obviously don't like me, so just leave. Because I'll be damned if you have me crying at my own event. I was so upset for Nicole. I said, I really wish that she had more allies. I wish that Guerdy and Kiki would speak up for her more. Like, I just felt so bad for her. Because I would have cursed them all out on behalf of Nicole. Like, don't play with her. This is her event. Y'all all sound so dumb. I really think that it does bother Alexia, Marisol, and Larsa that Nicole is successful at such a young age. She's pretty. She has a rich man. I just think that there is some jealousy because the animosity that she gets, it makes no sense. Nicole does not bother anybody, and they keep coming for her for no reason. So of course you have Marisol saying that she wishes that Nicole had uninvited her because she's tired of all this. I said, Marisol, you can go. Nobody is pressed for you to be there. Like, your presence is not that important. So Nicole gets up to enjoy her party, and as she's walking off, She gets in Alexia's face and she says, the day you worked hard for something for 20 years and some girl who hasn't worked a day in her life tries to shit all over what you're doing, you'd be pissed too. And that's where the episode ends. Y'all, if you're not watching Miami, I advise you to please get on it because Miami is some grade A TV. This is some real drama. It's not too much. It's just right. There's actual money. There's fashions. It's just organic, okay? Like, these are women who actually have known each other for years, and the drama is real. But all in all, Miami is giving what the other girls were supposed to have gave, in the words of the iconic Rolling Ray, and I will continue to be right here for it. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and you already know what to do. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye.